to address the conference committee?
Yes, of course, Senator.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, a week ago, from last Thursday, we had a conference committee hearing considering the question of statute of limitations for criminal sexual conduct cases. And I made some comments at that hearing that I later learned were particularly hurtful and in some views unbalanced with regard to how to approach that policy question. As a result, I reached out to a number of individuals to have some deeper conversations about it. I spoke with some survivors, had some very personal conversations with them. I spoke with some legislators who know more about the specific area of law than I do. And I spoke with some other experts in the field. And I went back and I listened to watched the recordings as well. And the manner of my comments, I think, were in some respects unbalanced. And certainly expressed some insensitivity or lack of sensitivity to the significance of the events for the victims or survivors of sexual assault. So I wanted to publicly say that I'm sorry for that. It was not my intent to cause some of the reaction that I did. I know that I failed to include in my statement that I recognize the importance of justice for the survivors or victims of sexual assault, especially my comment regarding the accusations impacting the lives of the accused. What I left unstated and certainly underappreciated was that the far more ruinous impact that a sexual assault has on the crime victim. I did not appreciate, I'm not sure I ever could, fully appreciate the depth of trauma associated with being a victim of sexual assault. I want to also add that I was not defending perpetrators, but as members of the Senate committee know, I do vigorously defend due process, and that was my intent in my remarks, was to defend due process. Indeed, it's the cornerstone of our constitutional protections. We need to find balance in our criminal justice system by providing justice for the victims and protecting the rights of the accused. Now, that said, I took a much deeper dive into the policy issue. I analyzed and learned more about the other crimes for which there is no statute of limitations. Very few, by the way, in Minnesota statutes. Murder or any crime resulting in death, kidnapping, child labor trafficking, and for minors, victims of sexual abuse or sexual assaults. I learned more about the impact on the memory of adult victims of sexual abuse, more akin to that of child victims. I learned about the significance of having the ability to report and have investigated by law enforcement, even if a crime is not prosecutable ultimately. And while I do believe that adults should be more responsible for choosing whether to report than child victims, I do not believe I appreciated the silencing effect of this particular offense, unlike any other offenses that we have in Minnesota. I reviewed in detail the elements of the several criminal sexual conduct crimes that are included in the proposal, some of which are quite heinous. I would like to think that policymakers and particularly legislators are capable of, even required, to reanalyze, to relearn, and to adjust their position on policy proposals to do what they conclude is right when they get new information. and when they come to a new understanding of a particular proposal. And that's what I'm doing here. I've concluded that eliminating the statute of limitations on certain sexual assault crimes as proposed in the House language is the right policy. And I encourage Chairman Limmer and my other Senate colleagues to accept the House's proposal on that policy question that's before us. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the time.
Thank you, Senator Latz.